From the vet to the bank, yeah, we're turning it up. Red pinstripes, talk tight, never catching enough. James, Joe, Austin in your speakers tonight. Philly fam, pull up a seat, we're live. Harper's got the stare, Turner flying around the bags. Wheeler painting corners, hitters dragging back the bats. Nola on the hill, start flashing leather in the dirt. Bomber Marsh in the line, I'm making Phillies feelings hurt. This week in Phillies baseball, hey, we're breaking it down, pitch by pitch, from the past to the stars right now. You don't wanna miss a bit. Ashburn, Schmidt, and the legends to the boys who are running it now. This week in Phillies baseball, Philly, we're making you proud. James calling trends, Joe's cooking up the stats. Austin drops the heat, pulling numbers from the past. October in their eyes, they can feel it when it's close. Every game, every play, every call you need to know. This week in Phillies baseball, hey, we're breaking it down, pitch by pitch, from the past to the stars right now. You don't wanna miss a bit. Ashburn, Schmidt, and the legends to the boys who are running it now. This week in Phillies baseball, Philly, we're making you proud.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in to this edition of This Week in Phillies Baseball. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you. And sometimes when I watch the Phillies, I feel like I'd rather be asleep or unconscious because they're on a tear as of lately. But with me, as always, is my group of companions alongside Austin Hammel and Joey Marks on this Monday afternoon. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Man, James, good afternoon, Philadelphia. Good afternoon, Austin. Dude, you could be asleep. You could go, take a nap. You could go, somewhere, just not pay attention. We'll catch you up, because every time, like, you fall asleep or do something, something happens in Philadelphia sports.
Yeah, I guess you have to be asleep to realize it, like the great late George Carlin would say.
Well, either that or it's like the great movie, While You Were Sleeping. It's like, James,
Yeah.
great things happen while you were sleeping. But
Yeah,
5 for 5 with Alec Baum, and, like, I guess we know one thing for certain. He listens to the Patterson Ham Sports Show, because
Mhm.
we definitely threw his name around a lot that morning, and not in a positive way. So he obviously had an axe to grind with us. But, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack. There's still a whole month, more than a month left of this season, where it's time to be optimistic, boys. It's time to feel like there's hope.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Yeah, and I think the one thing I'll say is before we get into the our segment here today. Yeah, I mean, it's like this is where the time when crunch time starts to become a factor. That's exactly when the Phillies need to get to where they are. Hopefully, even like a shout out to my buddy Rick Tobias, who I produced his show on Saturday. Said the Field of Dreams game could probably light a spark a little bit to wake the team up a little bit, and hopefully that continues on in tonight's game, and then also the week ahead, because you got the Marlins coming up for 3, and then you got the Cardinals for 3. So yeah, it's gonna be a real edge of the knife kind of feel for it. So yeah, let's dive into it, shall we? So speaking of the Phillies, I was going to talk about the Cardinals series, but I said, you know what, I don't even want to dissect that, because every time when I was watching that, I was like, I don't want to have that type of mood today. I'm in a good state. So let's segue it into the Field of Dreams game on Thursday night, which was actually a really cool, like, nostalgia kind of feel to it. It was kind of seen that I actually saw the pregame of it, and it was pretty cool to see. And then Kyle Schwarber hitting the digger to lead off the home run on the Field of Dreams game. So my question to you is that, so Joey, and also I'll ask you the first question here, is like, you saw Field of Dreams, right? Obviously, you saw that movie, and everybody who saw that movie will be a little nostalgic how like James Earl Jones and the intro, this, that, and the other. Pretty cool scene though. Like in Iowa, that there was a lot of Phillies fans in the crowd for that game, even though it probably holds like 90,000 like capacity, and it felt like it was a Phillies home game in that game on Thursday night.
Yeah, small venue, but small intimate venue kind of gives you not just the nostalgia of the game as far as the movie, but the game as it was a long time ago at its roots. You know, we could say it as a cliche that this is a kids game that grown men play for a lot of money, but it is. I mean, and Field of Dreams was one of those kind of movies that gave you that feeling, gave you that understanding of what the game meant. And as James Earl Jones said, no matter
Mhm.
what the world goes through, there was always baseball. And,
Right.
that is a true statement. Like you could always rely on baseball getting hell. Baseball got us through two world wars. Like that is saying a lot. And then going through some of the strife with 9/11 and whatnot. Like
Hmm.
baseball has gotten this country and maybe far be it the world through a lot of difficult and challenging events in its history. And so, kind of going back to that Field of Dreams and having that environment, kind of immerse yourself in that environment, seeing the legends like Steve Carlton and you know. All the big guys, like Hall of Famers, come out of the cornfield, and like give you that sense of this game is really special when it wants to be, regardless of the business aspect. It can kind of inundate us at times, but when we see when it's broken down to its core, what it's really all about, and Kyle Schwarber starting it off with a home run, it's only fitting. And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I think it was really a motivation piece, and I hope that the Phillies use that to kind of springboard themselves to do a lot of damage in the next month and a half.
Yeah, definitely. Austin, what about you, man? How'd you like the Field of Dreams game on Thursday night?
Honestly, the one thing that stood out to me, like you were saying, the pregame for it, that was, I believe they said it was the largest gathering of active Hall of Famers
Hmm.
since the 2008 All-Star game or something like that.
Yeah, at
Wow.
the old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, like the last hurrah for old Yankee Stadium. And
Yep.
on top of that, just having Schwarber start that game off by hitting an absolute nuke into that cornfield was something of like when you were a kid, like that one baseball field that you guys had that was like not too far from like just like an open field or like some woods or something. Because I lived out by Pennypack Park in Northeast Philly, so
Sure.
a couple of those baseball fields just had like the walking path and then trees out in left field. So I would just be like, I'm gonna hit one into the goddamn trees. Like it has to happen. So seeing Schwarber do that kind of thing, that's one of those feelings that you get. You're like, you step out there, like Schwarber was definitely like, oh yeah, I'm hitting one out there. I
Right.
have
So
to.
Austin, me and James grew up in South Philly, and so the equivalent for us in comparison to hitting it in the trees was not always the good thing, and that's why we always brought more than one baseball. If you hit it hard enough, like Kyle Schwarber, you would call it roof. You roofed the
You hit
ball.
it on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
Typical Grace Ferry fashion, my friend.
when you
Oh, yeah.
roofed the ball, you did one of two things. You either climbed up onto the roof to get it, or you supplied the game with the next baseball. That was
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
rule.
Yeah. I would have that a ton of times playing like wiffle ball on the like in the back alley and stuff.
Yeah. A shout out to my good friend Chris Chambers, may he rest in peace, was a good roofer of ours in Grace Ferry. Like he would always have to like when there was like when he was like looking for like roof stuff, like there was like baseballs, there was like old stuff in there. I said, "Oh,
Frisbees and stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Then
James,
the old Nerf Vortex footballs.
James, me and you
A lot of them.
me and you grew up not that far from each other.
Yep.
2 blocks away on Marston Street. And I remember when you weren't around. This is when I was still like a young kid.
Yeah, sure.
We had, I think it was the guy you're bringing up, but it was his father.
Chris Chambers Senior, yeah,
Yeah.
not Froggy Junior, Froggy Senior, yeah.
Yeah. So he would do the same thing. He went up on the roof of 1500 Marston of his house and other houses and just took like a push broom and just pushed through. And all of a sudden, it just started raining balls and frisbees and tennis balls.
Yep.
It was like it was raining, and we're like,
oh yeah,
okay, we got enough.
yeah.
We played that whole summer. We probably put half of them back up on the roof.
Yeah, he was a great guy too. May he rest in peace. He was a really good down to earth fella. But I remember those times when he was like cleaning the roof out. And it was like baseballs, tennis balls, footballs, this, that, and the other. Yeah, it was. If you're from Grace Ferry, you'll probably know exactly. Like there was a lot of roof balls in that for sure. But yeah, like you said, like me and you we're different blocks of Marston, but we know the feeling about that too, and it's like taking me back memory lane for sure. We got a comment here. I'm sorry. Also, what's that, buddy?
During the summertime, playing like
Oh
stickball in like a
yard, and
dude,
you put
absolutely. It up on the small roof, and you're like, we got to boost somebody up there. And they go up there, they go, bro, there's so much stuff up here.
But that was the other thing. I always say this to my wife. So my wife is from the Oak Lane area. So she from, like, the South Philly area. In South Philly, they have alleyways where it's two concrete walls, and the alleyways are kind of thin. And in order to get up on some of the roofs, you go, now, James, you may have done this, may not have. I fractured a law or two when I was a kid, so please, all police officers, please turn off your volume at this point in time in the program. So we would scale the wall of the alleyway, climb the wall of the alleyway yard, walk the wall, then go to the sub roof, and then there would be a wire that usually would be like a cable wire or telephone wire.
Right.
You would use that almost kind of like to almost Spider-Man your way into the catty corner. We were a bunch of monkeys, like down in Grace Ferry. We would climb onto the roof still, and then see, I was afraid of heights, so I never got up to the roof. But like, there were some guys that got up to the roof, and I'm like, so how you getting down? And they're like, hang jump. And I'm like that doesn't seem safe, but they did it. And I'm telling you, the practical ability for kids playing baseball or halfies, with the whip balls and playing, cutting the tennis balls in half and playing halfies, man, there was nothing else like it.
Nostalgia for sure. Speaking of nostalgia, my dad, Joe Scorza, brings a great report to me. He says, luckily, the game itself of Field of Dreams match all the hype of the celebrations, too. And the other thing, too, I was going to bring it up here in the topic here, the Field of Dreams game. If you, are a kid, you always have a, father-son bond with your, it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me when I was a kid, you ask your dad, hey, Dad, you want to get a catch? You want to have a catch? This, that, and the other. And it's one of those things that I miss about when I was a kid because we would do a lot of great things together. We would go to the lakes and hit some baseballs around, or we go to tennis courts, this, that, and the other. And even baseball to me, that the catch, the thing that I liked about Field of Dreams about it too is it was like a walk down memory lane of those times when you were a kid and you had that father-son bond with your father and your son having a great catch. And yeah, I mean, the one thing I loved about it too, more than anything, was when Schwarber hit that home run. It's like that's going to Shoeless. That's a shout out to Shoeless Joe Jackson, or a shout out to James Earl Jones in the cornfields. I mean, but I got to say right now, the Phillies really did a great job with this. I mean, I could tell you right now, that crowd was really electric on that, even though it was like capacity, like I mentioned, 9,000 capacity for a crowd, because it's Iowa. I mean, it felt like it was a home game for the Phillies too. It was just even on the radio, it was like, wow, the Phillies, look, we're Phillies sports fans and we travel everywhere and anywhere. But man, how they traveled to Iowa for that was really, really, it was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's so interesting because there was a Phillies beat reporter I heard the day after, That was on, I think it was either 94 WIP or 97.5. And he was talking about, now look, the Philly fans, Philly beat writers, Philly journalists, anybody that's connected to the Phillies. They go pretty much all over the country, you know.
Right.
Well, there's not a major league team in Iowa. So the one little tricky thing about getting out of the cornfield, especially at night, no traffic lights. It's like just a straight, like all you see is rows of corn and just straight road. And the one reporter that was talking about it is like, that was a different experience for us because we had.
I think I heard about this story too. Gonna admit,
we had the guy had to drive 10 miles to the hotel or whatever, and all he was doing, he was just driving on the road, but at night it's like pitch black. All you see is what's in front of you, your headlight, and just cornfields for days. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you know, the other thing too is that I talk about here too. Like if me and my dad were talking about this too when we're watching the game. It's like if they did this back, like let's just say like 13 years ago, like maybe it'll be on my bucket list to like take a travel to Iowa and see the Field of Dreams game with the Phillies doing it. And I can tell you from experience, I think it was like 12 years ago after I graduated high school, I took a trip to Baltimore to see Camden Yards, and that stadium was always, I got to say right now, like that in Citizens Bank Park, like how they have it formatted, like like Ashburn Alley, like how like the ballpark was. It was a pretty good scene, and surrounded by Ohio State fans and Maryland fans because Ohio State was playing, the Buckeyes were playing Maryland that day. But overall, man, it was I mean, the one thing, and then obviously the experience about it too, is that I think for sure if you are having a summer vacation with your family, maybe it would be like one of those times your father and like takes your son or daughter and your kid takes the wife and kids to Iowa to see one of these Field of Dreams experiences, and they should have like an exhibit like that too. Maybe like somehow in some way they have like an exhibit of like the Field of Dreams game, and also how. Not the game, but like the origin of it, and like it's a pretty good experience. And I think if anybody has kids or just looking to try to take a vacation, I think on your bucket list should be like, I mean, everyone says Cooperstown, but to me, I think it's Iowa too. Gonna admit.
I will tell you this, James. Two things real quick. Number one, the guy when I still had sight went cross country, and I took a bus, and the bus detoured off the highway, and he was going through Indiana. Like the rural part of Indiana, like the farms and like just the countryside. And I'm like, why are we taking this route? And I'm sitting there just like, there's rain, there's an old guy driving the bus. And it was a little bit, you know, But I watch too many horror movies. My wife, thank you to my wife for putting that in my
Stranger Things, like I guess like a Stranger.
No, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and then all this stuff, like the real deal Holyfield horror movies, Criminal Minds, and I'm sitting there going, why?
Unsolved Mysteries.
I'm sitting there going, all right, if I go to Iowa, I gotta make sure I'm with your dad, and that way, like we know where we're going.
Yeah, no, like, well, my dad like knows directions every which way he does. We always went to Wilkes-Barre, like. To go up the mountains, and even we drove 7 hours to Cleveland. You know, same thing.
I do not want to end up in someone's barn. Like, you know.
What are you doing here, Sonny? Are you supposed to go?
Listen, I do not. You joke. I do not want to end up in someone's barn.
It's funny. Like, it's like a Seinfeld episode with the farmer's daughter.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
You lost out here, son?
Whatever you do, stay away from my daughter. So, yeah, my dad says it's like a 15, 16-hour drive from Philly to Iowa. But I mean, obviously, it's gonna like no traffic lights. That's gonna be a little bit of an obstacle. But I mean, maybe with the Phillies do it again. Maybe I'll be like, you know what? Screw it. I'm like in my 30s now. An adult. Maybe I'll take a trip up there if we have the capability, and then we have the legs for it because I got weak legs along with my father too. So, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely somebody definitely for sure on the bucket list for sure. Austin, you got anything before we move on?
No, I mean, just that whole series overall, including the Field of Dreams game, was the breath of fresh air that this team needed. That was exactly what they needed to sort of get
refresher for sure.
Into a good pace going forward for the tail end of this season now.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess the other thing too is that like the weekend for the Phillies was really good too. Seeing the Phillies hit the cover off the ball in Minnesota. I mean, I think the other thing too is that I was really impressed about too is that they're actually still. I mean, this is the thing that drives me crazy with this Phillies team. It's that there's times that they forget how to hit, and they feel like, oh, here it is. It's like then they start swinging away, like swinging for the fences, like an old wrestling commentator would say. And it's like, okay, so you don't know how to hit in St. Louis, but then you go to Iowa thinking, oh, we found our stride again. There we go. Like it was here all along. It's just like, how can you just can't stay consistent with this shit? I mean, come on, man. I mean, I talked about it early on in the season about Jekyll and Hyde with this team, but it's basically the 2026 Phillies is legitimately a Jekyll and Hyde team to this point.
Yeah, here's the thing is that the last game on Sunday, the players of the game were hanging good work, and I'm sitting there going, I said to you, earlier, James, we had our show on Saturday where we talked about the bullpen. We had our good friend Frank Klaus on from 97.3 ESPN South Jersey.
Yeah, right.
Tune in to listen to him tomorrow from 2 to 6. But here's the thing: is we talked about the bullpen being inadequate. We talked about Alex Baum being inadequate. We talked about the inconsistencies of some of the scoring, hitting with men in scoring position.
Right.
And all of that just went away Saturday and
easily.
Sunday. I'm like,
easily.
What the hell just happened? Like,
yeah, I know.
It made me, you, and Frank all look like liars. I'm like, no, I swear to God, this, was true. Now, they come home, they play Florida, they play St. Still two teams that are not great. They should be able to handle things. But, again, you don't know what beast you're getting tonight out of the Phillies.
That's right.
Getting the Jekyll or the Hyde. And,
it's like the Rolling Stone song. Like, it's like not Jekyll and Hyde, obviously, but it's like a rock and a hard place once in a while, too, with this stuff, too. So, yeah, I mean, Austin, I'll ask you this question, too, is that, are we seeing the Phillies just like can they sustain this like for another few months or so? Because it feels like they can, but then they go back to struggling again, and it's kind of like a roller coaster, like my dad Joe Scorza says here too. It says, do you think can this continue like going into tonight against a Marlins team that they can't beat?
I mean, the hope is that they've figured it out and they're gonna really run the rest of the way through. I mean. Right. They're in a really tight spot right now with that final wild card spot between them and I think it's Arizona, I believe, is one of the teams they're battling with there. Mm-hmm. So you really do hope that this series against Minnesota sort of set them right in terms of the offense and they get back to staying clean in terms of their play. Not too many bad base running mistakes, not too many bad at bats. That they're getting quality at bats. The pitchers are getting quality starts. It's the kind of stuff that you really need going forward here.
Definitely. And I guess the other thing is that, they've been wildly inconsistent all year. I completely agree. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess the other thing too is that, now the thing about it too with this Phillies team here is that they're good on the road, but they really struggle at home. I don't seem to understand that. So. I mean, it'll be interesting tonight, I guess. And I think Sanchez is going tonight, right? I think it's Sanchez and Wheeler tomorrow.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, James.
What's that?
There's a good thing within all that, what that thing that you just mentioned. They are struggling at home. if they squeak into the playoffs, guess where they're going to have to play? On the road.
On the road, yeah.
Yeah. So
Right, that's
they're
true.
going to have to beat road warriors throughout the course of the playoffs, which is fine if that's the way that they play better. Not that you ever want to be putting yourself in that position, but if the Phillies have to be put in that position, they may be one of the few teams that can handle it. That being said, I gotta get your opinion, you and Austin's opinion on one thing that was brought up yesterday that I think is a worthwhile topic to talk about, and that is the play of Bryson Stott. Now, in the beginning of the season, I've always been a Bryson Stott fan, but in the beginning of the season, it was hard to still be that Bryson Stott supporter because he was struggling and scuffling so much. But this guy, he's not only is he doing it at the plate, he's doing it in the field.
Mm-hmm.
He's making the smarter, headier plays. And I'm sorry because I don't like to call anybody stupid or anybody dumb. Like I just think that's very demeaning and disrespectful. But when you have a team like this that has made really dumb mistakes on base running, on fielding, and whatnot, having a guy like Bryson Stott in this lineup, having a guy like Bryson Stott in that field, man, it just makes a huge difference because it
Sure does.
It doesn't feel like you're just like, ready to go, ready to go. Like, it feels like Bryson gives some stability to that defense and to some of that lineup. So, Austin, I wanted to ask you this. What do you think makes Stott so much of a heady player that he is as consistent as, think about this. He started as a shortstop. Trey Turner comes, he gets moved to second base. Luis Suarez comes, he gets moved to third. Every time there's a new arrival, Stott gets moved. But every time Stott gets moved, he still looks very, comfortable in that area. Why do you think that might be?
I feel like he just has that mentality of wherever the team's going to play me, I'm going to give it my all and be the best possible player that I can be at that position. And he's been doing that since he came up. Like you said, he originally was a shortstop, shifted over to second when Turner came in, and then owned that position for a good while with the team until the deadline. We got Arias, and he's shifted over to third, and he's still playing incredibly well.
Pretty well, yeah.
It's definitely one of those. I feel like it's just that mentality of, wherever they put me, I'm just going to be ready to play every single day. And he's been doing that ever since he came up.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the thing that I take out of Bryson Stott's game is that he wants to play every night. Like he wants to play 110% every night. I wish the same thing for Harper's sake, though, because it feels like every time when Harper gets a little, in the quote Mike Mayock would say, a little too excited, that he does a boneheaded play. There was a play on Saturday I was watching, and it was like a play that was a base hit, and then he goes to second. It's like, no, I was like saying to myself, go back to, you guys, you were good at first. Why did you have to turn it into a double? It's like sometimes plays like that drive me crazy, but Bryson Stott plays every game like it. I think he plays very well in games that, and he's a very good fielder. He's really good. The other thing too is that I was a little skeptical about him going into the season. I said, okay, his hitting has gotten better. His like I said, his defense has been really good as of lately, even on second or third base like he is now. And I think he's going to continue to get better every year. I think he's going to get better and better in this stretch. And I think if the Phillies get to where they are, that the possibility is that Bryson Stott's doing his job, and that's the most important thing too. Mitch Kovsky checks in for the first time today. What's going on, Mitch? How you doing, buddy? So before we go further here, we're gonna take a short break here. So when we come back here, we'll talk more about the Phillies. We got a matchup with the Marlins here tonight, and the Cardinals coming up here in the weekend. So stay tuned. We'll be back with more. And today's show is sponsored by the following at shoppingplaza.store.
Aren't you tired of endless scrolling and overwhelming product searches? At the Shopping Plaza, we simplify and personalize your shopping experience, so finding the perfect product is easier and made for you. Step into a place where every gift and every moment begins with you. Welcome to the Shopping Plaza. Take your team pride to the next level, whether it's the pros or your college favorites. Start your day with a smile and express yourself with designs as bold, funny, or unique as you are. Celebrate the people who matter most, from teachers to family to life's newest arrivals. From holidays to once-in-a-lifetime moments, everything here is built around your story. And it doesn't stop there. Explore the newsstand for trending stories, sports, and inspiration. Because at the Shopping Plaza, where shopping is personal, your story is always in style.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's 4:30 on this edition of This Week of Phillies Baseball. James Scorza, Austin Hammel, Joey Marks with you. Joey, I know you've been doing a lot of great stuff with Shopping Plaza on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. What's going on with that? Tell people more about it, my friend.
So you can follow me at Joe Wolf 112680 on Twitter. You're going to find a lot of posts there now and especially upcoming. The website is shoppingplaza.store. You can check out the newsstand for all your latest blogs. We have a lot coming out from the Showdown and the sitcom Showdown. The latest matchups include Fresh Prince of Bel Air versus Step by Step, Friends versus Sabrina the Teenage Witch, The Jeffersons versus Soap, Good Times versus WKRP in Cincinnati. So go check out some of these blogs. We have also weddings, baby shower blogs, holiday blogs. Halloween's coming up. We have plenty of Halloween blogs coming up in the next couple weeks to check out, whether it's the best candy or best costumes or best ways to set up your own haunted house, decoration ideas, tips, and tricks. We got it all for you at the Shopping Plaza. We personalize every moment for you. We got college football coming up. We have personalized college football jerseys. So go check that out at the Plaza. If you want stuff with the Sixers, the Eagles, or the Flyers, go get your personalized products there. And, make sure to make every day personalized with the Shopping Plaza because we do it your way at the Shopping Plaza. We're in charge. So go check it out at the Shopping Plaza.
Cool. Excellent. Awesome. Yeah. And there's a couple ones that stick out to me too. Is that Fresh Prince of Bel Air versus you said Step by Step?
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for the one that will be like Drake and Josh versus like Big Bang Theory or something like that. Well, that's probably coming soon though, but who knows? So let's get back to the topic here. Phillies start a series tonight with the Marlins. They got 3-3 tonight with the Fish. So Sanchez is back on the bump here tonight. So I guess the first question is like, I think it's just simply put here is that can the Phillies find a way to beat this Marlins team? Because it feels like for the last 15, 16 years, as long as I've been watching this Phillies team, they always have a problem with Miami, either at the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins. It just feels like we can never beat them. So my question to you, Joey and Austin, is there a way that we could finally break the camel's back with this pain in the ass Fish team?
Well, we have to. And I say that not to sound like it's a do or die situation, but there's two things to be true. We have to break that issue with the Marlins, but we also have to get Christian Sanchez back. The last two starts have not been the greatest. Actually, the last three starts have not been the greatest. So we have to get Christopher back on track. And I think the Marlins are a good team to do it. But like you said, the Marlins somehow always have our number. And so I think now we just have to, he's got to have confidence in who he is. That's what it really boils down to. We need to get the ace for Sanchez back on the bench. And, he plays better at home than he does away. So see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin, you think the Phillies have a chance tonight against this Marlins team, or you think it's gonna be one of those obstacles like we had the last time when we seen these two teams battle against each other?
I mean, I would like to think so because a lot of these guys' career against Sanchez are not incredibly.
Yeah, they're not good. Yeah.
Good. The two best people are Otto Lopez and Heriberto Hernandez, both batting over 300 against him. But Hernandez has only been over 8 at bats, and Lopez has only been over 12. Everyone else combined, 17, 2 for 22, 25. The rest of the team is total 2 for 27 against Christopher Sanchez in their career, including the son of notable Philly killer Jeff Conine.
Oh wow! How about that?
His name came up in the last series against the Phillies. He had a walk-off hit, really put a dagger in us in that game. But
yeah, Conine's a pain in the ass too. Yeah, you're right about that.
And I feel like, this series is going to be the reset the starters need. The Minnesota series was the reset the offense needed, and this is going to be the one that we get for our starters, I feel.
Yeah, so tonight's probable pitchers, we got Sanchez on the bump tonight against Jansen Junk. So hopefully it's probably Junk, like he's throwing Junk tonight. If you know, you know. Zach Wheeler tomorrow night. He was tomorrow night, and there's a to be determined for the Marlins. So I'm guessing it'll be probably a bullpen game for them, if that sounds about right. And Sandy Alcantara goes on Wednesday, and Aaron Nola goes for the Phillies on Wednesday. So, by the way, before I go in, what's that? I can't hear you, buddy. Hang on a second. A little more. Sorry about that. Yeah, I hear you a little bit, but I can't hear you a lot though. I don't know what happened.
Hello?
There we go. So, yeah.
I was saying Tyler Phillips.
There we go.
Is that guy that is the bullpen piece?
Oh yeah. So it will be a bullpen game tomorrow. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Conan's gonna be gonna be a burden for us again. I guess the other thing too for this Phillies Marlins game, I guess I can give a little bit of Aaron Nola a little bit of props because he looked well in that Field of Dreams game on Thursday and didn't throw any meatballs across the plate. Stowers checks in for the first time today. He says hello to Mitch, but he also checks in. He's the guy. If you haven't noticed, he's the same guy that we own with Jason Michaels and actually called a game very well for us, saying that it was going to be a bad game for the Phillies, and they only got what was that final? It was 1-0. Was that final? It wasn't a good game. Well, it was a good game to talk to Jason Michaels, but the game itself was probably
it was like a 3-2 or a 4-3, something like that. Because we were
it was
the ninth.
Yeah,
it was bad base running that sort of screwed us over with being able to tie it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It felt like it was a few months ago, but it was only it was a month ago. But the way this Phillies team has been, it's been it's been crazy to think that the Phillies have been a different team ever since then, you know. So it's gonna be a different game here. Well, hopefully good things happen here tonight too. And before we go any further here, what we talked about earlier, he said right now that the Phillies are holding the second wild card over the Padres since Arizona lost on Sunday afternoon. So that's the thing. It's that if the Phillies can continue to sustain this and go on a run again, I really hope, and it's a shout out, like I mentioned before, with Rick Tobias on his show on Saturday. He said that the Field of Dreams game hopefully light up a spark for them. Hopefully, the good news is that it finally shows that they are capable of what they can be. I mean, I don't know what they're going to look like tonight, honestly, because like the Marlins, every single time when I wish for good things to happen, I feel like I get kind of like the Who song, I get fooled again, but at the same time too. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like they have to have a good performance by Sanchez tonight and Weaver tomorrow, and hopefully the best comes out of it for Aaron Noah on Wednesday afternoon, and then we got the Cardinals for 3 starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we don't know who's going to be pitching in that games, but right now more than anything, I think for the Phillies, right now, if you have a chance to see what this Phillies team brings, I mean, how do you think they do over in the week? What's your total for this week and wins and losses, Joe?
So I gotta say it's gotta be like 2. I would love to have 5-1 because I think you got to start to sway this a little bit unevenly in the win-loss column in order to stay consistent. And I think 5-1 would be great. I think 4-2 is more realistic because I think once we get to the Cardinal series, unfortunately, we're going to be towards the other end of that rotation. And, Nola and Painter have been doing well. I'm not going to say they have, but you got to hope that it's the recurring theme of this episode is whether or not this Phillies team can be consistent, both offensive, fielding, pitching, bullpen. It takes all the guys doing what they need to do, and sometimes, for example, Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler have had kind of outings in the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
Pitchers. They are allowed to have some outings every once in a while, but the pitching out of the bullpen didn't make anything easier on the offense. So you got to think the offense is already inconsistent. Then you add in a bullpen that's inconsistent, and then you have a hiccup here and there with your 2 aces, with Wheeler and Sanchez, which, they're human. And so for me, it's like everybody has to kind of start to kind of look at this like, all right, we have to kind of grow together. That's the only way we're going to be successful. I want Sanchez to be angry tonight. When he pitches,
I agree.
When he pitches angry, he goes double digits in strikeouts.
Sure.
And so I'm going to go and say my biggest bold prediction for at least tonight's game for sure is 12 strikeouts by Sanchez.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the last outing he had with the Marlins wasn't the best. Star Wars checks it again. He says Phillies won't make the postseason, so I'm guessing he's not skeptical about this Phillies team making a big run. And my dad says, too, he says the same thing I brought up earlier with their homestand, is that right now the Phillies are our only team, or only a game or 2 above 500 at home, and they need to turn that around really quickly. So that's going to be priority 1 here tonight on this homestand. You have to make CBP like the most, like, yeah, you just like you can't come to like if you're opposing player, you don't want to come to CBP and leave here with the victory. So there's like too many of them happening the last few years or so. So let's hope for a good outing here tonight. Austin, how do you see this Phillies team hold up this week with 2 big series coming up this week, and how do you see the win-loss total with the Marlins and the Cardinals coming up here this week?
I'd like to. I definitely 100% agree with Joe. I feel like 4-2 is still a sustainable record over the course of this week.
Right.
It's going to really depend a lot on the pitching, especially the bullpen, because the starters can get you so far. It becomes the bullpen's job to, finish up those games. And if they're, hemorrhaging the way that they've been this entire year, it's going to be really tough. I'm sort of on the fence with what Star Wars said about the Phillies making the postseason or not. It's been very up in the air with me all season long. This team hasn't really. I mean, early on they showed a lot of consistency, but it's like Joe said throughout the season. That what matters is when you get hot, and if you get hot near the end, you're going to be in a way better spot. And we've cooled off. And I'm hoping that Minnesota series was the reset for the entire team. But you really do need the pitching to really start coming through for you now.
Yeah, I think you guys make a very valid point here too.
Let me ask you both this. When we did the flyer this weekend, flyer talk, Austin, that was you. When we did this, you were the first one to plant your flag and say they're making the playoffs. This team's making the playoffs, and I'm planting the flag. I think it's difficult for all three of us, and I'll ask you, Austin, how difficult do you think it is to just plant your flag and say, you know what, damn it, I'm just going to put my flag in? Because look, there was a point with the Flyers, I'm like, Austin, you having second thoughts about your flag? You're like, nope, I'm staying firm on my decision. This seems very different, and so I got to ask you, what is your stance on? We're about 6 weeks away from the postseason, maybe a little less. My question is it safe to say you're going to plant your flag for the Philadelphia Phillies, or are you not?
I cannot safely do it. I genuinely can't. The bullpen has not shown me the consistency that I've wanted to see in the second half of the season so far. So I can't. They could go on a generational run, and I would still say, like, yeah, you'll make the playoffs, but do you beat the Dodgers? There's for every question that you answer, there's another question. With the Flyers, there was no pressure once they started pushing for the playoffs. It was just get in and do what you can to, enjoy the run. With the Phillies, I feel like you're getting towards the end of your window, and I feel like you're at a potential World Series or bust stipulation with a lot of the fan base now.
Absolutely,
like you've teased around it for so many years with this core that I feel like if you don't make it, this year or the next, that window's going to shut so fast it might shatter the glass.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no question.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Austin. I think the one thing with this Phillies team is that, with the Flyers though, like you said, it's like nobody expected the Flyers to be in the playoffs, and we were like on this program talking about that this team is like exciting. There's a special team growing with this team. Now it kind of feels like with this Phillies team, as we segue into the Phillies, it kind of reminds me of what the Eagles were in 2001 to 2004 when they went to championship game after championship game, and they never went. I mean, they finally went to the Super Bowl, but then after that, like you said, that glass shattered after that, and they never went back to the Super Bowl until 13 years later. So for me, I don't know, man. I'm not crazy about this Phillies team making a playoff run because I think that window is starting to close very, very quickly, and I think it's going to continue to close quickly depending on how consistent they are.
Yeah, and your dad brings up a good point too, saying the expectations for the Phillies are completely different than the situation that the Flyers were in.
Right.
Flyers are a very young team. The Phillies are a bunch of veterans that have pretty solid star power, and
they should be better than that.
Yeah, like you touched the World Series in 22,
exactly,
and then the Dodgers just started stocking up, and it became tough for you to be able to battle against that. And it's just, aside from that, like I said, the consistently inconsistent bullpen makes it hard to stamp any sort of positivity into. I mean, even if I were to plant the flag on making the playoffs, I don't think I would plant it on a deep playoff run.
No, I would either.
Because of the fact that the guys that you have in that bullpen can't be trusted outside of Duran.
Right. Other than that, who's safe?
Duran's kind of shaky sometimes recently.
Sure.
So it's really, really tough to be able to put that kind of a put that kind of a stamp onto this season, which is again crazy because, like you said, Joe, there's 6 weeks left.
Yep.
And I can't confidently say they've got this wrapped up.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, man. I mean, I want to have hope. I do. I mean, you always want to have hope with your 4-for-4 teams. But I don't think there is any hope. I think, like, even like you said, like, it's just like he can. My dad Joe Scorza agrees with you. It's just don't fly too deep. LOL, just like teasing you.
But end up hitting the sewer line.
Yeah, well, I think the only thing that's we're painting the flag is that if we're going to the cornfields and painting corn together and put a flag there and says this is the Phillies flag in the cornfields, but that's about it.
Putting a flag for where that Schwarber ball ended up.
Yeah, right. You know.
So I'm going to be, and I'm going to be, I'm giving a lot of thought. James, I kind of mentioned this to you, I think a couple days ago. In 2022, at the end of the season, last month or so of the season, the Phillies did not look sharp.
Joe, I think your mic's cutting out again, buddy. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I think it's like a static or something like that. Oh shit! I think we just lost you. Shit. Shit.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There you go. There you go, buddy.
Okay. So what I
think I was trying to hack our phones again.
Yeah. So what I was kind of saying is that, you know, in 2022, I think I mentioned this to you before, James, is that in 2022, towards the end of the season, the last month of the season, the Phillies did not play up to the Phillies standard. You know, they just didn't. And I was very skeptical of what the Phillies could bring to the table. And I didn't think they would do anything in the playoffs. Honestly, I thought they were one and done. I thought they were going to be done in the Cardinals series. And then they surprised me. And then they went and faced, I believe it was the Braves.
The world champion Braves, yeah.
So again, I'm thinking we're not getting past the Braves. Everyone's picking the Braves. We're not getting past the Braves. Then they got past the Braves.
Scratch that.
And then we got to the Padres. And again, the same thing. And it's just like, okay, I keep doubting this team.
Mentality.
I keep doubting this team, and they keep proving me wrong. I keep throwing the flag over on the pile, and I just keep saying, they're not going to be any good. I made a mistake in 2022 by taking my fandom for granted and not just riding with my team. So this is where I'm going to be the lunatic. I'm planting my flag.
Oh my God.
Planting my flag for the playoff run. I'm not planting my flag. Man. I'm not planting my flag necessarily for a World Series victory. But I'm planting my flag that we're going to make a playoff run and that I'm not scared of the Dodgers. I'm not scared. I'm not going to be scared. I should correct myself. I'm not going to be scared of the Dodgers. I'm not going to be scared of the Braves. Just like in 22, where everyone was saying that the Braves are going to beat you, the Padres are going to beat you. They didn't. Right. And in some retrospect, we should have gotten our asses handed to us by the Astros. But it was just like Frank Finnegan said. The Astros just outgunned us with their arms. We went in like completely undermanned to the Astros. I understand that. This season, red colored glasses or not, I'm planting my flag that this Phillies team is going to A, make the playoffs, and B, make a deep playoff. And I know that makes me.
Well, I mean, look, like I was telling you guys, I want to be skeptical about that. I want to be a realist too, but I don't know, man. I just don't see it.
I am being cautiously optimistic.
Sure.
Which is never really a good thing, but I feel like it's the best that I can give right now, just strictly because of the fact that I haven't seen consistency out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Everything else has been there. The offense is coming back. The pitching the starting pitching has been solid all year long. Sanchez still has a sub-3 ERA. Wheeler still has a sub-3 ERA. Nola had himself a really solid start that could potentially turn around his year. Like the starting quality is there, but it's when you have to go into the bullpen. That's where the problem has always been with this team, and it's been the main Achilles heel for seeing this team be able to push further and further forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Thing. If this team, and I get your optimism, and I get why you're cautious. I understand all that. But the thing that I keep asking myself, okay, if the bullpen and the hitting and the starting pitching, like when I mean starting pitching, I'm really being more specific to Sanchez, Wheeler, and Luzardo.
Mm-hmm.
But if the starting pitching and the bullpen doesn't suck and the hitting actually doesn't disappear in October, and I know that last one is just a big what if because it's disappeared the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Of course, yeah.
But if those things stay consistent and drive forward, this team, whether it doesn't matter if it's the Dodgers or the Braves, this team becomes the most dangerous team in the MLB because of the skilled players they have already on their roster. We know that Orion Kirkland could be a shutdown reliever. We know that, Alvarado is a head case, but when he hits that slider, it's hard to hit. Bolin has been
Bolin's been good. I gotta admit.
Really good. Tim Mays has been good. Sanchez and Wheeler are 2 of the best pitchers in the MLB. Luzardo is coming on. Nola is coming on. Painter's starting to figure it out. You got guys like Derek. You got like little contributions, and we talked about this before, James. Little contributions from no-name players. Like we talked about the Dodgers with Teoscar Hernandez and those guys that aren't Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. Those guys killed us. The guys that aren't those guys.
The unknowns, yeah.
Yeah, the unknowns.
Like Cody Ross is an example of that in 2010. The list goes on and on. I'm with you.
So like guys like Derek Hill are showing up. Guys like Dela Cruz are showing up. Guys like Bryson Stott are becoming more of a perennial guy in the field and at the plate. The guys got like Alec Baum. I don't give a damn what the hell lit his ass on fire, but someone better just keep the flame up on high because I want that guy to continue to hit the way he was hitting in Minnesota. And that's just my take. Is if you
make a good point. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong about that.
If you put all the talent is the talent is there, they have just we talked about it with Frank this weekend, James. There's a lot of underperformers.
Yeah, that's the thing too is that the Derek Hills of the world, like you mentioned, the Alvarez arises, and yeah, I mean that I like I said, I want to see a Phillies team just come out and be like, okay, we got 6 weeks left in this season, make it count. Make this count. Like in 22, we didn't think we were going to be in the playoffs. We didn't think we were going to be even in a World Series. I mean, that's the one thing I love about sports is that the dramatic is so like it's definitely a drama-filled guarantee ride if the Phillies get to the postseason and they get hot at the right time and take that to the World Series and practically win it, and we're celebrating on Broad Street. I want to see that Phillies team again like they did in 2022 is that nobody was giving them a chance and it pissed them off, and they were 1 win shy from forcing the Game 7 and then winning it all. And I want to be, I mean, it's not that I'm worried about the Derek Hills or the Luis Arias. I worry about Harper. I worry about Schwarber. I worry about Trey Turner, yada, yada, yada.
And that's all fair. That's all fair.
And because like I worry about those key components that are. I'm not worried about the Bryson Stott either. I think Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm, if they continue to show up and show out, like I think we'll be good. But at the same time, too, it's about 1, 2, 3 in the lineup. 4, 5, and 6 are good, and 7, 8, and 9 are good. It's just about, and we got to get Brandon Marsh start to roll again too. But yeah, I mean, like the values from 1, 2, and 3 are Schwarber, Turner, and Harper. It's like you guys are the big dogs. You guys got to step up. So that's the most important thing and the last thing I'll say about it too is that if the Phillies make a postseason run, I trust our 1, 2, 3 starters. I trust Sanchez. I trust Wheeler. I trust Luzardo. Bullpen, we'll see. So, I mean, that's a wait and see at the moment. And the last thing we'll say before we wrap up here, my dad Joe Scorza says it only took 4+ months, but the team finally had a hitters meeting about their approach at the plate, and there's that. So maybe that's a little bit one thing to your point, Joe, is that they had a players meeting, and maybe that hopefully woke them the hell up.
Well, if you have a hitters meeting and you have Luis Arraez in that meeting and he's a big speaker in that, man, if even a third, if not 2/3 of this lineup could take a little bit of some hits, some hints from Luis Arraez's approach at the plate, it might improve this team by a lot.
Hopefully it opens up. Hopefully it opens up a spark. Hopefully it gives them a little bit of a spark going into tonight and going into this series for the next week or so. And hopefully we'll have a winning streak, hopefully, and springboard this into a streak when we'll see you again next Monday. All right, that's going to wrap up our show for today. That's a wrap up for this week of Phillies Baseball. I thank Austin. Oh, shit, sorry. That was my phone. That was my phone falling. I think Jose Alvarado was trying to hack I think in my house too, because that's not important. Anywho, well, thank Austin and Joey Marks on this show here today. Austin, where can people see you guys? Where can people see you guys next?
Yeah, actually, Wednesday night. I know I had said it last week, but it was actually going to be this week. This Wednesday, Connor and I are starting our Philadelphia Union show.
Nice.
Looking forward to that. Aside from that, here next Monday on This Week in Phillies Baseball, and in the time in between over at twitch.tv/Ambo2.
Cool, awesome. So I'll be looking forward to that. I'll definitely talking some Union with Connor and Austin and Joey. We don't have a Pass and Have sports show this week, but man, we got to talk about that Birds game. It looked like it wasn't the best game overall, but I guess preseason shows that vanilla is good on donuts, and I guess it's good for offenses in preseason too.
Yeah, it's good in Baltimore. I'm guessing they put a little bit of vanilla in with their crab cakes. But here's the thing: is the Eagles is going to be an interesting preseason, and we'll see how some of these second string and third string guys next time going against AJ Brown.
Yeah, the Drake and the May, the Drake and the Brown.
Good old Drake May.
Drake's coffee cake and brown coffee. Yeah, it's gonna be. Well, hopefully they have a better opportunity this week than they did last week. But yeah, I mean, obviously preseason games are never fun.
The only time you want to root for the other Drake.
Yeah. Well, are you talking about Drake and Josh, or are you talking about Drake the rapper?
I'm talking about Drake the rapper. The only time you want to root for Drake the rapper is when it's Drake May.
Yeah. Well, he does look right. Well, obviously, if to quote Josh Peck, we're not mad at him. We're done with AJ Brown, like we was with Drake. So that there's two things about that too. But man, it was fun, guys. So stay tuned. Next week we'll be back with you guys to talk about this series. Hopefully, the Phillies get off to a real good streak here. Eagles get back to where they are. And right around the corner, we'll have Flyers hockey not far away from here. So we'll be trying to segue that if the Phillies don't go any further than that. But most importantly, we're going to be here for the next 6 weeks or so. So make it count. So now for everyone behind the scenes and for everyone that made it work here, and hang on a second, I got a comment here. So joint practices are going to be more interesting than the game at Saturday. Yes, they were. But now for Austin Hammel, for Joey Marks, I'm James Scorza. Thanks everybody for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you guys right back here next week at 4 p.m. Go Phils. I hate the Marlins. God, beat these damn Marlins already, please. Until then, we'll see you guys on the other side.
From the vet to the bank, yeah, we're turning it up. Red pinstripes, talk tight, never catching enough.